Good afternoon, y'all. David Atkins, targeted individual. Um, Today I'm going to be coming out of talking about Rauni Kilde. And Rauni Kilde was a doctor and a whistleblower, and she had a lot of connections. And she's old school. And there's a lot more I could say about her, but I'm going to get the information. Um, you know, um, this is what she said about electromagnetic telecommunications and cybernetics. And I'm going to come from Psalms 34:18 before I start, which says, "The Lord is near to those who have a broken heart and saves such as have a contrite spirit or broken spirit." So remember that, because David was heavily stalked too. Not saying he was a target individual or nothing like that, but David was followed. I mean, there's 4 chapters straight in the Bible where David was followed and they were trying to kill him. So you can imagine the smear campaigns going on while they were looking for him and everything, because Saul was a king and was after David. So um, you can imagine the power he had of spreading word and negative stuff and turning everybody against him. And he's writing all these Psalms during that time. So anyway, I'm going to go in the information real quick, and I'll probably take tomorrow off and I'll do another video Thursday. So anyway, in 1952, when electronic implants were placed in the brain and teeth for tracking, behavior and mind control conditioning, programming, and covert operations, it became necessary to hide the technology. Electrical stimulation of the brain, ESB, and implants during surgery or abduction from the public because of Nuremberg Code, which prohibits involuntary medical experimentation on humans. The DSM, Diagnostic and Statistic Manual for Psychiatrists, was created in 20 languages. Today it lists symptoms created by the 4 methods used on the unsuspected targets: electronic, chemical, or bacteriological or psychological warfare experiments as signs of paranoid schizophrenia. All medical schools teach that one is mentally ill if they hear voices in their heads, feel they are surveilled, poisoned, beamed with microwave, listened to via radios, telephone loudspeakers, or TV, feel that their thoughts are read and responded to by strangers, and if they experience paranormal phenomena. The alternative diagnosis is that the individual is a victim of mind control is never taught. Neither is the fact that the technologies to create such symptoms have existed for 50 years without public knowledge. The public is unaware, for example, that electrical activity of the visual cortex of the subject's brain can be mapped out from images of the subject's brain that appear on video monitors. Operatives see what the surveillance subject's eyes are seeing. Visual memory can also be seen, and images can be inserted into the subject's brain while they're in REM sleep for programming purposes. Two-way electronic brain link-up is done by remotely monitoring audio-visual information while transmitting sound to the auditory cortex that bypasses the ears, and transmitting faint images to the visual cortex that bypass the optic nerves and eyes. Nanotechnology computers are a generation ahead of present academic computer technology. There's been a signals intelligence network since the 1940s in the USA, and Russia woodpecker signal has been beamed against Americans since the 1960s. In Moscow, Russia, high-frequency beams of radiation directed at the American embassy cause malaise, irritability, and extreme fatigue. These effects are not temporary and include cataracts, blood changes, and induce heart attacks, malignancies, circulatory problems, and permanent deterioration of the nervous system. Today, the sudden attacks of flu without virus or epileptic attack can be remotely induced, and electronic warfare and amnesia beam can be used to cause a sudden blank out of memory of a target individual who is given a public presentation. The latest technology includes cloning of EEG and isolating an emotional cluster signature. The frequency amplitude cluster is synthesized, stored on another computer, and each negative emotion, fear, shame, envy, terror, hate, indifference, despair, frustration, anger, jealousy, etc., is properly tagged and placed on the silent sound carrier frequencies. These frequencies will silently trigger the same basic emotions in another human being. According to the Defense Intelligence Agency, Controlled Offense Behavior 1972, the most bizarre threat is the APERT technique, which is a form of astral projection where the energy body is transported to a remote site where it dematerializes an object, transported back, and rematerializes it. In this form of psychotronic warfare, electromagnetic fields and Appert phenomena mentioned in the DIA report have caused pH objects to pass through solid walls. The goal may be used to use neural resonance to suppress psychic abilities via e.g. microwaves of general population, as in Project Tyre conducted in 1990. Neural degeneration and DNA resonance modification can be achieved with a cellular telephone system and ELF extremely low frequency modulation. The two types of modulation that are biologically important are pulse modulation and amplitude modulation. Modulation is the secret of transmitting information by electromagnetic fields, mobile phones, and new street lamps with microprocessors at malls, parks, streets, metro stations, etc. Silent sound technology used in the first Gulf War was very successful. Our brain has specific frequencies for each voluntary movement called preparatory sets. Preparatory sets are encoded with microwave beams. Paralysis can be achieved and missing time can be induced with RHIC and EDOM, radiohypnotic intracerebral control and electronic dissolution of memory. These methods can be used when the UFO question is used as a testing ground for electronic warfare or programmed assassins. Dr. Ross Aday found out that 0.75 MW-CM2 pulse intensities can be used to control all aspects of human behavior. In the United Kingdom, police have been granted the exclusive use of 450 MHz microwave range. Microwave phones cause the neurons to release calcium ions, which make the user tired and irritable, and when stressed, prone to emotional outbursts. ELF, extremely low frequency signals, can cause cancer by modifying the function of RNA transferase so that amino acid sequences are scrambled and produce unnatural proteins. The greatest threats to our privacy are synthetic telepathy and the ability to scan our brains and read our minds using laser beams from a distance. Synthetic telepathy detects the 15 Hz 5 milliwatt auditory cortex brain emissions that are linked with the excitation potentials in the brain that are associated with subvocalized thoughts. New technology involving low-frequency microwaves and RP can scan through walls and look inside people's bodies as well. This allows computer-controlled targeting of specific centers in the victim's brain, even when he or she is walking inside the house. Microwave radiation excites the hydrogen bonds in the cell and can interfere with meiosis. This causes cell division to malfunction and leads to cancer cells and hence tumors. The testing period of implanting certain groups of people, soldiers at wars, mental patients, handicapped children, the deaf and blind, is over. Today, anyone can be targeted, and plans to control the world population through brain satellite computer links are far advanced. The Swedish State Report, SOU 1972:47, reveals a lot, and Director General Jan Freese, FREESE, of Sweden's data inspection for 13 years states that the elderly in old people's homes were targeted in the mid-80s. On July 21, 1994, the U.S. Department of Defense proposed that non-lethal weapons be used against anyone engaged in activities that they oppose. That could include almost anything and anyone. Mind control technology is classified under non-lethal weapons. DoD's potential enemies may be counterculture individuals, those with opposing political views, economic or financial competitors, biological undesirables, etc., etc. There's evidence that some civil military gang-stalking organizations have moved against these people or groups, slandering, harassing, even killing without adequate cause or sanction. Secret Neuro-Telecommunication, Cybernetics, and electronic warfare capabilities can lead to abuse by unethical people in positions of power. Globus 2 in Vardo, northern Norway, operating since 1992, and HARP in Alaska are one of great concern because their long-distance capabilities to influence both global weather and the human mind and behavior. He who controls the human mind controls the world. And that's all I got, and I'll continue this Thursday. For those that don't know, look up Dr. Rauni Kilde, RAUNIKILDE, MD. And you'll find a lot about her and her works. She also wrote a very good book, very interesting book. And she also stole a manual, which was instructions for people on how to gang stalk people and harass people. Well, anyway, and I talk about that in my earlier videos. I think I was in the hospital when I was talking about that. So you can find my videos where I was in the hospital and I actually read that manual out. Anyway, God bless y'all. Y'all have a good day, and I'll see y'all Thursday.